Hey, everybody. Good morning. It's me, Teri Hunter. It is Sunday, November 10th, 2024. Welcome. Welcome. I'm going to let us get a little bit started, see if the room starts to open up a little bit. It is, this is the week that Saturn goes direct. Good morning, Nikki. Good to see you. Welcome to the room. Saturn's going to go direct in Pisces. Hi, CC Pups. How are you? And I think this is a big deal. Oh, I love Canada. I love Canada. Beautiful country. I've never met a mean person from Canada. I have to tell you, I'm sure they exist, but I personally have never met one. Good morning, Margie. I'm sorry about last week. I got to tell you, the Mars-Pluto opposition and then the Uranus retrograde making aspects to it last 2 weeks, pretty much since my birthday, has been like unbelievable. And it's weird when you look at astrology because we tend to default to keywords. We tend to default to certain things. And then when we pay attention to astrology and we live through something and we look at it in hindsight, we're like, oh my God, it's right there in the chart. So, and I bring this up because I think the Pluto-Mars opposition is the biggest thing going on right now. It is, Pluto is in Capricorn at 29 degrees, like 51 minutes, just about to move into Aquarius. So those last degrees of Capricorn are really, really strong. It's like, it's such a shit show of a story, CC Pups. If I saw it on TV, I wouldn't have believed it. And this is Uranus involved, okay? Because Uranus brings unexpected crap. I want to tell the story, but I'm going to wait for a few more people to come in the room. I'll tell you what happened, but it's long. I'll give you the cliff notes, but it's so crazy because Mars rules, violence, and Pluto rules psychology, that deep criminal psychology that just messes with your head in a way that is scary. And Uranus rules, the internet. So I'm kind of waiting for Small Wildflowers to show up. See, I haven't heard from her. But anyway, so I'm just going to ramble on a little bit about Saturn because I want to offer this. Saturn is sitting in the sky. And I want to say for all my mutable signs, you're going to feel this. If you have anything, within, let's say, 5 degrees of 12 degrees of Pisces right now, you're feeling this heaviness. You could be feeling like old history is coming back around, or, I'm done with this, and it hasn't been. And it's specifically interesting in Pisces because Saturn rules history and karma, and Pisces rules history and karma. So something is circling back around, and as Saturn sits in the sky, it's gonna task you to have an awareness that goes beyond your humanness. And I swear to you, I have felt this tug of war inside of me between an old behavior and knowing full well that old behavior doesn't serve me. And that would be Mars right now, because Mars, having been in Cancer, was frustrated. It's like, especially because it was opposing Pluto. It may not have been as frustrated if it weren't for these aspects, but that aspect was only going to happen once, or for the last time in 248 years at that place with those two planets at 29 degrees. So there's this huge tasking of of Mars to look inside of itself. Is how am I expressing my frustration, my anger? How am I being brave in what I know intuitively? Cancer, how am I taking care of me? And the opposition of Pluto could be saying very well, no. It's about other people. It's about other things. It's about your history. So it's been really, I think, insane. Totally insane. So I'm going to wait. I'm going to text Small Wildflowers and see, because I want to tell you guys what happened, because it's so crazy that it's worth people fast forwarding through it if they don't want to hear it in the replay. But I could not have predicted this. I could not have imagined it. I could not have seen how it was going to play out in a million years. Oh, and I'm writing in a million years as I'm texting her. That's my brain right now. Are you million? Oh God. I just got to tell you, I really was worried this week. See, and you guys were gearing up for a Mercury retrograde too. Okay. So that's happening, and it's happening. You can check out the monthlies. I'm going to do a separate video, but we're gearing up that Mercury retrograde to hit some points in Sagittarius that it hit last year. And rather than thinking about Mercury as the mind right now, I want you to think about, because Mercury is also going to be opposing Jupiter this week, already is. And because of that, there's like this, they're both in detriment. They're in each other's signs. So there is, again, this push pull. And I think the Mercury represents like the people, the community, everyday lives. So, all right, we have a full moon in Taurus as well this week. That is on the 15th at 1:28 p.m. I did a separate video on that. Check that out, because that is conjunct Uranus. And again, Uranus is creating a real mind meld of, it's not just space and genius and the collective consciousness. It's truly, I think it's bringing up the internet directly. I think that the full moon, and I think that the Mars-Pluto opposition is illuminating some of our media platforms and the balance within those platforms. And the balance is not just what we're hearing on the news. The balance is how we're interacting on platforms. You know, I find YouTube to be the most, well, maybe it's just my channel because I don't really search too much on YouTube. But, oh, I do. I listen to music and stuff. But some of the other platforms are like inflamed and angry and rawr. That's the Pluto-Mars opposition. So I'm bringing this up to you because I want to impress upon you how it's a time to protect your heart, your mind, your soul from the influx of angry energy, of frustration. Venus is going to be conjunct the galactic center at 27. The galactic center is at 27 degrees of Sagittarius. So this week, for the next 2 days or so, she's going to be conjunct that point, which is a great time to meditate, to ask Spirit to bring in solutions, to download solutions regarding money, your self-worth, your skills, anything Venusian. Hold on. Oh, here she's on her way. We have Venus making a quincunx on the 13th and the 14th to Mars, exact, for 2 days. First at 2 degrees, Venus is at 2 degrees Capricorn, and Mars is at 2 degrees Leo. This is another kind of funky thing because there is this, you know, obviously we see the man-woman dynamic with the Mars-Venus, but it is also this, you know, Venus rules pleasure in many ways. I mean, we think of entertainment as the 5th house of Leo, but when we think of pleasure and comfort and security, we're looking at Taurus and we're looking at Libra energy. So now Mars in Leo, there could be a very strong feeling that Venus is trying to look at things practically, and Mars is getting hot again because while it's making the quincunx to Venus, it's making the opposition to Pluto. Oh my God, Nikki, like, can I just say it was a poop show? Like literally cuckoo. And this is the weirdest thing about it, because I feel like I should be somehow insulated from the stars because my world is so small, but there's no insulation. It's almost like there's certain things we're supposed to walk through. Pluto, that deep, dark psychological boogeyman that lives within each one of us and outside of us, okay, opposing Mars, that has just moved out of the sign where it's in fall, where it is challenged to trust its intuitiveness, to self-heal, it's frustrated, and then moves into Leo, where it gets this burst of energy, which makes it challenge Pluto even more. Mars didn't calm down when it moved into Leo. It got a little think, and now it's going to retrograde. Hi. You know, I don't know what the notification issue is. It's a weirdo thing. Okay, so let me go through the last aspect, and then I'll tell you the crazy story that happened last week in relation to the aspects. So I really want to emphasize for the next couple days, today, tomorrow, and Tuesday, to take advantage of Venus's transit over the supergalactic center. Their inspirations can come in, putting in your intentions to the universe, meditating, taking that long walk, looking at signs and omens. I was doing a reading the other day, and literally a red-tailed hawk looked like it was just like at 100 miles an hour flying up and went right over my roof. So it almost looked like it was coming straight at me. That's something to pay attention to. And so I really want you guys to pay attention to the signs and omens around you. Next week, Pluto's going to move into Aquarius. So again, the tension right now of Pluto leaving those last degrees of Capricorn. And we know what Capricorn rules: government, authority, limitation, restriction, things that are dry, our bones, our teeth. It could play out in a lot of ways. Because that Capricorn energy is, and Pluto, they're taking no prisoners. Okay, I don't want to, I'm harping on that. Mercury is in opposition to Jupiter this week. And again, that's an interesting thing because Mercury is in Sagittarius. It's going to retrograde later this month. So Mercury is representing the people. Okay, the way the people are being able to expand. And Jupiter is in Gemini, having to come down from the hill where it sees everything in a lofty way and look at how the people are really living and how they're communicating and how they're interacting. So I think this is a very powerful opposition, because the idea that both planets are in their detriment, they're literally, it's kind of like, okay, you have to go to my house and I'll go to your house and we have to figure out how to work, but we don't have any of our tools, which means that's like a recalibration. So pay attention to how this week, towards the end of the week, plays out for you, the 15th, the 16th, and the 17th, as these two planets, and all these oppositions are just like a seesaw. So I don't know if we're looking for a conclusion that we're going to get one right now. So forewarned is forearmed is my new favorite thing to say. So this is what happened. A week before the election, so because I can do Tuesday to Tuesday, I woke up at 2:00 in the morning and my phone lit up, and my friend was on TikTok live in the middle of the night. And I turned it on to see what was going on. And long story short, he'd gotten a diagnosis from the doctor, wasn't good. It was very bad, actually. Like there's nothing we can do. Go with God kind of thing. Your life is very limited. And he told us on the live that he took a drug, and he was leaving the earth plane. He was unaliving himself. He was crossing himself over. In that moment, I was hostage on that live. I could not leave. And for the next 22 hours, it was like crazy trauma. So here's Uranus, the internet, Pluto, death, and Mars. Oh, crazy. I am freaking on a live stream. Yes, on a live stream. Okay. I mean, I can't even tell you because at one point he passed out or he died. We didn't know at the time. We now know that he is still breathing and walking on the earth. And it's just been a very strange way to play this out. You don't know. Lucy Rose, I cannot even tell you in my mind how I say to Spirit, what the fuck is going on here? What is my job here? What is my participation? What is my opportunity here? So, all I know for me personally, and I don't know how this could play out for you guys, because I could never have, this is a much bigger story, but I don't want to bore you all with it. But that was the pinnacle of cray cray. And as a result of that, I realized that I had to really get back to basics. Like my mind was spinning. My mind was, like you're helpless, right? You can't do a damn thing. It's the middle of the night. You can't call anybody, it's just crazy. So I was like, all right, there's something about reaction going on here. There's something about recognizing that, there's a deeply wounded individual going on here, and there's a cry for help and not a cry for help. There's this person is definitely not going to be, I don't think he's going to make it through till next to his next birthday. His transits are so gnarly. He has Saturn right now on his Mercury in Pisces. He's a Pisces rising, and he has Venus at 25 degrees. Neptune is on his Venus, and the sun will be conjunct. Neptune will be conjunct his sun when Neptune moves into Aries in March. And I'll be very surprised if he makes it past that time. That will be a really big marker, because that's a lot of past life. That's a lot of erosive energy. And when Neptune comes up on your sun, you can either that can turn into a very spiritual awakening, or it could snuff out your sun, literally snuff out your life force. And the habits and the attitude and subsequent energy is very self-destructive. It's very Pisces in its lowest form. So it's pretty wild. So that's what happened and by last Sunday, I was just worked over. And I'm still kind of, I removed myself from that particular app. I just thought, it's time to go back to basics. Let's get off the internet a little bit, stick to what we do. I mean, as far as this goes, I also want to announce to you guys, I'll probably do it next week. I've got I should call her my perfect little friend. She's 18 now, and that's why I call her little, helping me with the thumbnails and with the intros. I don't know if you've noticed, we have an intro now and we have an end card, and it's we're getting a little more fancy. So we're opening a Instagram account. So yeah. I don't know. I've been praying a lot about that, Small. What are the lessons to learn? What is my participation? What is, I don't know that it's anything crazy. Like, I need to reevaluate myself, as much as knowing when to walk away. Know when to hold them. Know when to fold them. Know when to walk away. Know when to run. That's what I think my lesson is. And I'm singing to you because I don't know. I just feel like it today. All right. So that's enough of me and my life and the craziness that Mars, Pluto, and Uranus I'm telling you too, I want to offer this. If you can, I'm the fabulously flawed friend. That's how I like to look at me. I just want to offer this too, because there's always going to be something with Uranus that you can't plan for. What you can do is know where you stand, know what is important to you, know where your deeper truth is, and in that find solace. I like to put words together. So I would say you're a divine disaster. But we're all a divine disaster. I'm a beautiful blessed. I love this woman in Britain. She calls Britain bonkers something. I don't know. Anyway. All right. Let's start with our birthday month, Sagittarius. We're going to get busy now. We're going to get serious. We're going to take care of you guys. Enough of me. Oh, nice. Sagittarius. Happy birthday. And there's the High Priestess. I'm using this whimsy deck. I've got a bunch of new decks, and I'm really enjoying playing with them. This one is really, really powerful because it's about discernment, very much so, in the sense of being able to discern between the truth of your heart, what you know intuitively, and what the earth plane will tell you is your truth. I mentioned earlier that Venus, is it Venus? No. Yeah, Venus is going to be on the galactic center for the 10th, 11th, and 12th. She's going to be within orb. The galactic center is a place at 27 degrees Sagittarius, where through meditation or through automatic writing or through, I like to call it a spirit walk, when you walk, but you're aware of nature around you and what spirit's trying to show you. You can download information. You can feel divine solutions. One of the things during this whole situation is, about a week into it, I woke up and I don't know what happened in my sleep, but I was like, time to disconnect, time to try to stop chasing and fixing things that aren't yours to fix. And that might be my lesson in the situation, because Sagittarius, this is a divine energy of connecting with your intuitiveness, with the divinity within you, ascending beyond the earth plane. And yet when we get to the top of the stairs, we see there's where the trees are. Speaking of trees. So I think that somehow, let's see where we're going with this, but you're going to be tasked to feel that. If we think about your ruling planet, Jupiter is now in its detriment in Gemini, having to sort of struggle with the bigger picture of small details, or the small details of the bigger picture. So here, I think there's something about holding, the way she's holding that crescent moon, it feels like I can fill things up. So let's see where we're going with this. Our first angel is Vanessa, faith over fear. The second is Isabella. Yes, the timing is right. Teresa is about worry. And Shanti is about peace. You know, when I look at the High Priestess, I almost feel like she's in a tree house. Let me show you again, because this could be something about marrying the earth and the bringing something from the earth plane into your spiritual practices, almost like grounding it in some way. And if we think about the idea that Jupiter and Mercury are in detriment and in opposition to one another right now, there could be this moment where to exercise your faith is to start to anchor something into your everyday experience, whether it be affirmations. Again, you can work out. I don't know if I always think like lifting weights feels like it can be spiritual, but when you run or you do anything where your endorphins are getting a gas up after a while. And of course, I think of a singular sport, not a team sport. That can be a meditation. Vanessa is being joined by the fire fairy, which is about creative action and optimism. Isabella is about joy. Teresa is being joined by the spider card, and Shanti is being joined by the bee card. This very much speaks to me that for my Sagittariuses, that very much Spirit is encouraging you to create a stronger relationship with your divinity within. Okay, and I want to offer it this way, not the divinity without, the divinity within. Vanessa and the fire fairy feels like it's about taking action to make a stronger connection with that I know is my deeper truth. And this is the joy. The joy card feels like it's because I've had an epiphany. We see that 37 reduces down to a 10, and Spirit saying, yes, it's time for you to start to listen to that inner voice, listen to that inner truth. Teresa is about worrying about other people. And I think that this has to do with relationships. So, because the spider for me is always a relationship. Sometimes it could be, the World Wide Web, but this is about, there's a deeper truth inside of Sagittarius that may interrupt or be not aligned with something outside of yourself. But I want to offer this because it could indicate that when you go into your deeper truth, you find that Spirit is like, people don't have to agree with you to allow you to have your truth. They don't have to say, oh yes, that's my truth too. Because Shanti is offering Sagittarius a road ahead with more tranquility and more peace as you own and operate from your own being energy. And when I talk about a being energy, I mean your attitude, your disposition, your belief, what you believe about the situation when you walk into it. So I think this is a really good, it almost feels like for my Sagittarius born, it's not Sagittarius. I'm in Scorpio. Why didn't anyone stop me? Well, I'm going to do this is Sagittarius's reading, and then I'm going to do Scorpio. But see, this is like all of a sudden I was on a roll. I am on a roll, and I'm going to stick to it. Because I started with Sagittarius, so this is your reading. Because Spirit wanted to do it that way. And I'm fabulously flawed. Did I not say that earlier? As I have this awakening in the middle of the frickin' reading. Because I do think there's a smoother road ahead as you honor that dynamic within you. It's like bringing your whatever you believe is possible in your life. You don't need to be religious about it. Bringing it into your everyday life, making a practice of it, brushing your teeth and saying, it's going to be a great day. just small declarations and tapping into that high priestess within you. Okay. So I want to just thank everybody in the group for being as on the ball as I am today. Nobody alerted me that it's November 10th. I'm telling you, I can't wait to detox from hello, Queen Leo, from the TikTok. I really think it has been eroding my brain. The other day I was talking to someone and I could not remember the name of this show that I watch all the time, The Curse of Oak Island. I was like, how can I not remember it? How can it's on the tip of my tongue? And I was just had a total, I think I need a media detox other than creating content for this wonderful group of people here. All right, we're backtracking to Scorpio. Any Scorpios in the room waiting for their reading? Sorry if I'm laughing. I'm laughing a lot as I'm nervous. Okay. Here we go. Maybe this, the interesting thing is going to be about the tarot. I can't wait to see what your Scorpios are going to get. The sun. Look at this. I think this is great. I think there's something more going on here than meets the eye, because Sagittarius rules the connection to the angelic realm, the high priestess. And the Scorpio energy is very strong and is the boss. It's not the sun, but this is about being a leader. Let's see where we're going. Very potent. And I want to offer this because early born Scorpios, those that had their birthday at the end of October are going to start to feel the square even more tensely as Pluto moves into Aquarius. And this might be about, again, following your heart, having the courage, when I see the gong, I think of it almost like a drum in some respects. And here I'm going to the beat of my own drum. All right, Scorpio, our first angel is Indriel, the light worker. The second is Athena, lovingly asserting your power. Maya is schooling and education, about lovingly asserting your power. And Archangel Gabriel is about communications. I got monkey brain so bad right now. I don't even know what's going on. And I don't know if I care. Hi, Queen Leo. So good to see you in the room. All right, Scorpio. Let's see where we're going. Because Indriel talks about shining your light. What is the sun? The ultimate light. And we have the butterfly coming out of this dark place into the light. This is so powerful. Scorpio, Athena is being joined by the king. Something is coming. I don't think this is about a man. I think this is about something that has to do with justice or something coming karmically into play as you lovingly assert yourself. Now, this is what I've been talking a lot recently about, how I think Scorpio is so intuitive. But depending upon what planets are in Scorpio for you is where you'll feel that intuitiveness. And sometimes it can come out inadvertently egotistical, because when your sun is in Scorpio, sometimes it can be more about that power and control, because this is about taming somehow to get what you want. It's about taming how you go about asserting yourself. Maya is being joined by the wealth card. See, this to me, the wealth card feels very Jupiterian today. It feels like it's expansion. It feels like, because we have Archangel Gabriel, which is about communication over here. So I could take that into the Gemini energy. And I think somehow for my Scorpios that right now is a time to really start to think about how you want things to grow. And I've been saying this saying lately. I kind of like it because I don't like it. Let it go. If you're a Scorpio, you can't let it go, but you can let it grow from that spot, because this is about allowing yourself evolution from a dark place, from something that's been feeling heavy and maybe even slightly oppressive. Then we have this king, which I don't think is male energy. I think it's justice. As you lovingly assert yourself, you get what you want and you learn how to assert yourself in a new way. Now, let's just talk about your ruling planets, Mars and Pluto, duking it out. They're like, excuse me, no, excuse me, no, excuse me. I'm the more powerful one. No, I'm the more powerful one. And when the fight, because I really do think they're duking it out. And Mars was losing the fight, and then it moved into Leo. Now Mars is going to be in Leo to 6 degrees, then it's going to retrograde back into Cancer. But this time it's going to oppose Pluto in Aquarius. Aquarius is the sign of genius thinking. Focus on it's time to focus on your thoughts and to really be aware of how much you're brooding, how much you're it's okay to so many times Scorpio can be right about something, but does the right really bring the happiness, or does it just fuel the frustration because you're not getting the validation? So I think this is a little bit about turning away from anything that's been feeling too challenging and dark, moving towards something that is aligned to your evolution, to your growth, to coming out of a dark place. And in doing so, remember to align your communication, both in your mind and how you speak. Good morning. Where'd she go? Didn't I just see somebody enter hi, Flamingo. Oh, there she is. Just call me C. Hi. You have a new picture. Yes, you do. I can't really see what it is because it's so small. Hi, Jules. Oh, yeah. Uranus is making aspects. We give so much of, we think so much of communications, and Mercury's going to station to go retrograde. Okay, so me and all my personalities messed up and started with Sagittarius. I was already jumping into the next month. So Sagittarius went first, Scorpio went second, and now we're going to Capricorn. How many times can I experience myself as fabulously flawed and exercise self-forgiveness? I guess on a daily basis. All right, here we go. Let's see what the tarot has to say for our Capricorns, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. And I want to really emphasize the moon lately. The more I do this astrology, the more I interact with other people, and most people don't know their rising or their moon. One of the most important reasons you want to know your rising sign is not just your perception, but to tell you the landscape of your chart. Because if your moon is in the second house, it means something. If your moon is in the 8th house, it means something else. And the sign can be the same. So it's important to know that, because the moon is going to rule your emotional body. All right, Capricorn, here we go. We got 3 major arcana cards in a row. The Wheel of Fortune. And it's a 10. The 10 reduces down to a 1, the master number of thought. We see a big theme with the aces, with the 10s, with the Magician, with the Wheel of Fortune. A lot of things, as they go around, they come around, but we direct them through our thoughts. So let's see where the Wheel of Fortune is showing up for our Capricorns this week. Those last degrees, those late-born Capricorns have been feeling a long and arduous transformation through Pluto's transit over your sun. And while oftentimes we'll think that because Pluto rules death and rebirth, that it can be a literal experience, but more times than not, what you're seeing with the Pluto Sun transit is the death of the ego. It's a very different thing. Oh my gosh, small wildflowers. I don't know when it's going to simmer down. That's my challenge. Crystal Cook, welcome into the room. Oh, yay, New Zealand's in the room. Welcome, welcome. All right, we are on Capricorn, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. We have the Wheel of Fortune as this week's tarot card. We have Grace and Antoinette as our first angel. The second is Ray. The third is Layla. And the final is Archangel Gabriel again. I really do believe that this is a time to, whatever form you're most comfortable. You can talk to God and the angels as a friend. You can talk to source energy. You can pray. You can chant. You can do a spirit walk where you look at nature. You can do automatic writing. But I want to offer this. I think it's really important right now to create these habits, or these what I would call ceremonies, or commitment, almost a commitment to self ceremony, especially as Saturn is stationing to move direct in Pisces, because we're hitting those middle degrees again, where Saturn is expecting us to start to build a strong connection with our divinity as we go through these crazy, transits. It's not, I don't know if it's going to slow down, because when Pluto moves into Aquarius, the United States has some serious stuff going on. That's the Sagittarius is the third. Aquarius is the third house for the United States. That means something's going to be rewritten that has to do with our everyday lives and how we interact. So this is why we've got to self-care and monitor ourselves. This Grace and Antoinette energy is of compassion, right? So it's compassion, I think, for the self. Let's see, for the Queen. Exactly. And the Queen does not necessarily mean a woman. It's about that feminine receptive energy. It's about Capricorn going from that I've got to build. I've got to prove myself. I've got to be a leader. It's so ambitious. It also, in the midst of its ambition, is nervous about how, has fears and trepidations about not being powerful enough or a leader enough sometimes. So we can have a real polarity in that Capricorn energy, where the strength of the Capricorn energy propels us into that leadership role, and we become potentially a little out of balance, or we diminish our role. Again, it will really depend upon the aspects hitting that your Capricorn energy, your rising sign. So this is having compassion as you're experiencing the wheel going round and round. And in this particular deck, we see the woman is immersed in water. That is your intuitive body. That is the truth of your body. The truth that lies within you is in your intuitive, emotional body. It's not in your brain. So now we have Ray being joined by the Baird. Ray very much is a meditative card for me. That is where I connect. My power comes from my connection. And this is where we see the story being rewritten. And we double down on this for my Capricorns, because Layla is another angel that is meditating. And this is where you're going to start to receive information. So let's go now to the idea that I was speaking earlier about Venus being on the galactic center this week. From the 10th today until the 12th, she'll be within 1 to 3 degrees. We like a tight orb with the galactic center. This is a place where you can download solutions, where you can get inspirations. And I want to offer this too, because if you need a nap, take a nap, because that nap could be when your personality calms down and the inspiration comes through. Last week, I literally went to bed feeling one way, and I woke up feeling a completely different way and very reconciled with it. So when I say that, Spirit, I believe, was speaking to me in my sleep. Something happened. Because as you go into this meditative state, or this intention to have a conversation with Spirit, Capricorn, and again, I'll probably mention this to late-born Cancers, because they're experiencing that Mars is going to be over them. But this is very powerful for a reconciliation of some kind, to extract the wisdom. Because here we're going from compassion in Grace and Antoinette to the gentility of the deer as you realign the way you communicate, not only with yourself, but how you communicate with those around you and with Spirit. When I talk to Spirit, I'm very aware of when I'm going, oh my God, I feel so crap. Why does this always happen to me? I don't say that to Spirit. I say to Spirit, give me peace of mind. Give me the wisdom in this situation. I never ask for the lesson. Lessons are nasty. They feel arduous. Lessons are only fun when you're in preschool, okay? Or kindergarten. You start to get into second or third grade, lessons aren't fun. But so where's the wisdom? Because somewhere for Capricorn, there's an old story being swung back around. And now, not only are you going to have emotions potentially triggered, but you're also going to be tasked to trust your intuitive knowing. You were in church. It's kind of easy sometimes to fall asleep in church, actually. And it's not because it's boring. I think sometimes it's because church is soothing. There's a soothingness about it. Okay, let's go on to our Aquarius's rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Of all the transits right now, while there's a lot of them, I'm looking the most forward to Jupiter leaving Gemini because I keep missing the details of things somehow, or I'm deleting things, or I'm trying to post stuff and it disappears on me, or I did it wrong. I don't know if y'all noticed when I did because I have the new intro and I have the end card. So when I do a video now, I pull it up into Canva and I put it all together. And last week, I guess I put Libra. I thought I did Libra and it was Scorpio. And I mean, I was just like fabulously flawed all week. And at my age, you cannot go 24 hours without sleep and not feeling like you're losing your mind. Okay, enough excuses for my mistakes. Aquarius, we have the Knight of Pentacles. This is an interesting energy because this is this youthful energy. It's drive. This guy knows where he wants to go. See the map? He's like, this is where my treasure lies. The earth signs very much like to see what they build. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to fantasize about it. They want to see it. So somewhere we're looking at Aquarius starting to create a roadmap. Again, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Let's see where we're going. Oh, Jules. Yay. Yes, absolutely. I love that. Venus on your moon, receiving money. I love it. Out of nowhere, Uranus through this unexpected way. And I would think that buying a lottery ticket, because it's just an exchange of, it's so random. It feels internet-y. Okay, Aquarius, Knight of Pentacles is being joined by Archangel Michael, asking you to have the courage to make some changes. Queen Leo, I'm sorry, I looked up. My brain is so retarded. I looked up and saw Queen Leo put the little green things, and then I pull this. Archangel Uriel is in the opportunity or the obstacle. Crystal is in the angel's advice, and Maya is in the final position. Okay. I really think I need to start taking some lion's mane and Geekabloken or something. At least I catch my mistakes right away. That's all I can say. Makes me feel a little bit better. Archangel Michael's being joined by the Queen. Archangel Uriel's being joined by the Burden card. Crystal's being joined by the Deer. And Maya's being joined by the Bee card. Okay. So when we look at the Knight of Pentacles, we are, I'm getting like a strong sort of Virgonian energy here because of the map, knowing where I'm going, knowing, we have all the earth signs can be represented, but here, this is wanting to know where I'm going, making a plan. And in this particular case, for my Aquariuses, Archangel Michael is asking you to have the courage, not only to make the plan, but also to allow inspired action. I think that this is where, the fixed signs have a tendency to hunker down in a certain way of being. And while Aquarius is expansive within the idea, it can be a little bit rooted in how it would move forward. I'm on Aquarius, right? I'm on the right sign because the Uranian element, you could be, inadvertently, you could be burdened by old stories, old angers, old frustrations, your ruling planet is having an aspect to Mars. And I don't think it's a negative one. As I recall, it's been a sextile for the most part. And as Mars moves into Leo, it won't get far enough to square it, because Uranus is in like 23, 24 degrees is far going to go retrograde. But at the same time, I feel like there's something going on here where Spirit is asking Aquarius to push themselves into a faithful place. Crystal says, have faith and hope. There's more on the horizon. The Deer feels like there's more on the horizon, and your fear is getting in the way because you're mad, you're fearful, you're focusing on some kind of blocks. Somewhere in your plans, something is not, you can't see the end of the road yet. Now in the final position, because this is my my earth plane. This is the problem, or it's the what's working for you. The problem right now for Aquarius is there's a frustration. There's a focusing in on what's not. Now Spirit is saying, oh, we're working behind the scenes. You're going to have to take a seat. You're going to have to look at your map, because Maya is teaching you about your being energy and about, are you receptive? And I do think that Venus energy is very much, especially when it makes its quincunx to Mars this week, is really, I want to take action, but no, it's a time to be receptive. And the reception is not like, oh, I'm going to find $1 on the ground. The reception is to trust that weird thing in your head that sounds like you talking, but it really isn't you. It's inspiration from God and the angels. Then you take action. Okay, on to our Pisces. Rising moon, sun, and stelliums. You are going to feel, if you have a stellium in Pisces, you probably are going through some pretty gnarly stuff, actually, when I think about it, with Saturn and Neptune over your planets, as I commented earlier about my, I don't even know what to call it anymore. Yeah, keep swimming, Pisces. Do the backstroke, because it's just about. I literally think that so much of it, you know what? That's not a bad idea, Lucy. Keep swimming and doing the backstroke, because that'll keep your head to the stars, to the sun. I think it's super important. Pisces moon. Ooh, right now, yeah, that could be really hard. Saturn on your moon. I don't know where you early degree, late degree, because Neptune on it too could make you feel very. Let's see what your tarot card is. The Ace of Wands. Now this is nice. New inspirations, new fire, new life. But do you see the two little hummingbirds? They're very interesting to me, because I feel like, there's something about the hummingbird. It traverses, when it flies, it can go backwards, it can go forward. It's like a helicopter, right? And the idea of two made me feel like this is connecting with spirit. I look at the pink and I kind of, even though it doesn't really represent the heart chakra, it kind of feels like love. And then I see all these beautiful lilies, the springtime, the lilies grow, they're so fragrant. And then the blue hummingbird. So there's something about this that feels as if it's about being maybe more flexible, or looking at things from a different perception. See, this could be the challenge. Let's say you're a Pisces rising, right? And then you have your moon in a fixed sign. It's going to mess with you, because the Pisces is going to want to go towards the light, literally. And then the earthy side of you is going to want to be like, well, that doesn't make sense. That's not real. And so it's a little bit of a push-pull. So Pisces, I think this is about inspirations. I think this is about a new sense of fire, a new sense of life on some level. There's not a lot of fire in this particular deck with this card, but there's new life. All right. And sometimes new life is not about like a baby. New life is a new perception, or something that gives you some gas. Pisces midheaven. Ooh, that's Saturn's off your midheaven now. Yay. And it's off your moon. Yay. Yay, yay. It's easy to do that. And sometimes it's a great release, I'll tell you. All right, Pisces, here we go. Patience. Now is a time to learn, study, and gather information. Sonia, there's the connection to your guides, your angels, and your deceased loved ones. There's Desiree. And then there's Crystal. I keep, I don't know why I'm hearing that. There was a song or a saying, something about it's not your first breath and your last breath that count, but all the breaths in between. As I'm looking at this for Pisces, I feel like if something has felt dark, if something has felt really dampened by Saturn, because, Saturn is a potent energy. You don't need Saturn to sit on your planet to feel it. You know what I mean? Like it could be 10 degrees away and you can still feel the density of that planet, the fear bubbles that are floating around you. And Pisces is so sensitive that it could really, on a negative level, could stoke wanting to drink, wanting to mask, wanting to feel like this inner uncomfortableness that makes you just want to go to sleep, to be alone, to hide. Patience has been joined by the Love card. Sonia's being joined by the Frog. Desiree's being joined by the Lady of the Lake. And Crystal's being joined by the Spider. You know, I want to put it this way. So we're talking Pisces rising as the first house, and having the it's hard not to lose faith sometimes. You know, Kiki, it's kind of like Saturn's energy can be so freaking dense that it brings up old stories, old crap. Like, you know, it can be, and in Pisces, it can be the victim-y stories, you know, why me, always happens to me kind of thing. Because I want to offer it this way. Right now, in the immense polarization of what's going on around us within this time, there's a default to the human, regardless where you live in the world, regardless of your ethnicity, your race, your gender. There is this feeling of it's a very erosive feeling to the individuality, to our hopes and our dreams, because this is where I'm going with this. Pisces, something's being offered to you, and it probably is something more has to do with your attitude and how you've been focusing in on something. The love, this love card, and I think it's funny because in this deck, if you look at it, look at how worn out the love card is in the middle. It's where humans mostly feel eroded, is through love. They want it so much, but somehow it's always feeling like it's slipping away. I find this so interesting that this is the way this card has aged. And the patience card is about observing yourself and how you relate to love. Because if for some reason as a Pisces, you're like, you know what? Love is a no. Then you could be inadvertently categorizing love in a way that's too narrow. You could be inadvertently, Saturn could be doing so many things, plus Neptune. Neptune is also, you know, while Neptune's been transiting through that house for a while now, when it gets to those last degrees, it's like, to me, it feels like the planet's more potent, especially a ruling planet. So it's like Neptune's going, all right, Pisces, have you done everything you need to do for your spirituality to keep your connection to the deeper truth of who you are? Because it's the connection to your team, to your divinity within that will help you manage through this period of time. But you have to have the courage to look through that, to look within. And I want to offer it this way because it's not about judgment. It's about a transit that is asking Pisces specifically to look at themselves, first house, and say, am I creating things that are authentic to me and sustainable for me? Or am I inadvertently blowing things out in my old story and just wanting to run away from it? Because Crystal, having faith and hope, and then we see the Spider, literally means to me, they want you to have a relationship with your team. They want you to talk to your team more and more. There are things that I don't realize I don't do. Because I talk to Spirit all the time on behalf of other people, I don't realize that I don't ask Spirit to help me with things. So as I walked through the last few weeks, I started to recognize that. And I said to Spirit, thank you for helping me to balance my pain. The old pain, the new pain, the intermittent pain, you know, this planet. And because of that, there are times that I almost feel like when I ask something that simply, that within a few days, there's an inner peace that takes over within inside of me. And I think Pisces right now, because of the polarities, because of the transit or the opposition between Pluto and Mars, could be triggering you, whether you realize it or not. Because that, to me, that's the strongest energy in the stars that's happening around us, is that fight between these two. And everything else is sort of playing a supporting role to that argument. Well, I think we always deserve help, CC Pups. I really do. I don't think that God looks at us. I mean, God, the angels, source energy. I basically think the universe is not emotional, but I also think that if there are benign and loving beings around us, they understand how dense we're walking through. They understand that they're watching us do a frickin' triathlon, okay? It's not an easy place to be. The earth plane, from my understanding, from my studies and from my conversations with God, this is one of the hardest places to come to incarnate, because everything looks so pretty. And then you get here, and it's a little bit of a, poop show. It's hard to manage. All right, on to our Aries, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. We have the Six of Pentacles. This is a card where something is being bestowed upon you. Something is being offered to you. There is bounty and benefit. And yet it's interesting when I look at this particular deck, it's almost as if in other decks, there is a benefactor who's giving to one and not the other. But in this deck, everybody's getting something. So that's rather interesting to me. Let's see where we're going with that. Your team isn't tired. I'm telling you, they don't get tired on the other side. They don't get frustrated with us. They have the patience an understanding. It's like, I know as humans, we get annoyed with toddlers, but we have more patience with babies. We know because they're youthful that they have a road of learning, and that's how spirit looks at us. And when we get tired, they understand that we've just disconnected from our truth. When we're connected to our truth of our divinity within, when we're connected to the idea that we aren't here for lessons, but yet to extract the power within, to make choices that move us towards what we want to experience versus anchoring us into a story. We don't always create because we want it. We create because other people will approve of it, or other people will applaud us, or other people will think we're cool. Okay, Aries, your first angel is Opal. You are a child of God. There is anger and frustration here. Oh, surprise, surprise for Teri's little reading with Aries rising. There's Grace and Antoinette with compassion. And Adriana's leading us somewhere. Where are you taking us, Adriana? Because I'll tell you, well, I have not been angry. I have most definitely been frustrated. And while I do not feel unforgiveness, I do feel a sense of frustration with the unknowing of what these transits are trying to bring forth. All right, here we go. Aries, Opal is being joined by the water fairy. Spider is joining Archangel Uriel. The High Priestess is joining Grace and Antoinette, and Adriana is being joined by the Trust card. Aries, you are ruled by Mars, and you are part of this opposition that is really very intense. And having the sign change, I think it's important to pay attention to how you felt maybe potentially different as Mars moves into Leo. Now it's going to retrograde in December, and it's going to go back into Cancer. And the reason I bring that up now is because I think that it's very important to focus in on what you want to receive from the universe versus focusing in on what you have not received or you're pissed off about. Opal is saying you're a child of God, and there's your emotional body. Be aware of it, because your emotional body is what creates. Your brain does not create. You can think it creates all day long. It does not create. Somewhere it's coming into a reconciliation with whatever's happened. Your anger, your frustration, any unforgiveness you're holding. Oftentimes the human thinks when they're in an exchange with another human that there is you're good, I'm bad, you're right, I'm wrong. You did this to me, you did that to me. But sometimes it's not actually like that at all. Sometimes one human is a mirror for the other human. And sometimes, like with Aries, they can be so hot, they can feel this sense of resentment that they're by themselves, because they're the ones that go out into the, pioneer uncharted territory. And they don't always get the applause for it. They represent our war veterans or our warriors. They come home as veterans. They don't get applauded for it. Somewhere, something's going on with Aries where you're feeling like you're not getting your fair shake. And here's compassion as you trust your intuition over your anger. And Adriana says to trust because there could be a payoff coming and you don't know it yet. And the payoff could be that validation that you want. One of the signs two signs I think don't get very much validation are Scorpio and Aries, because they're so fiery. People just naturally don't want to give it when they're right. They just naturally don't want to. They're like, nah, I don't want to give that one, that. So I don't know. Somehow something will happen. So just do your best. That's all I can say. CC Pups and Small Wildflowers is a big animal lover as well. Someday she's going to have her own little rescue. All right, here we go. On to our Taurus, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Oh, this is so Taurian. Look at it. The bulls, the Queen of Wands. I think this card, I love this deck. She knows her power. This just feels so powerful to me. The beasts of burden behind her do not feel burdened at all. They feel cooperative. There's a sense of relaxedness with this. When we look at the queens, we're always mixing the water element with whatever the queen represents. And here we're mixing water and fire. So emotional inspirations. Let's see where we're going for our Tauruses. Rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Whoop. So glad that didn't fall on the floor. Our first angel is Shanti. The second is Astera. The third is Azure. And the final is Teresa. All right. Taurus, Shanti is being joined by the restriction card. Astera is being joined by the novice. Azure is being joined by the birth and the rebirth card. And Teresa is being joined by the wealth card. You know, one of the shadow sides of Taurus is that it worries about money. You know, I want to feel secure. I want to feel safe. I want to know there's plenty of this and plenty of that. And if I look at this here, it's almost as if Spirit is saying, if you want peace of mind, Taurus, it's about trusting, again, your inner knowing. Because when I think that this week having Saturn and then next week having Pluto change sign, Saturn's moving direct in Pisces. Pluto's going to change signs. I think somehow that's going to click something. I don't know why I want to say it for Taurus, but I know Uranus is retrograde in your house right now, late degrees. But there's something about here having more ease of mind, trusting your skills, trusting that you're doing what you need to do to make sure that you have all the things you need to feel comfortable. My moon is at 9 degrees of Taurus. This new beginning is trusting the stars, trusting your alignment, trusting your prayers, trusting your intentions, trusting, Level Playing Productions, welcome to the room. This is a big deal because I want to offer this. When you look at the Taurus-Scorpio axis, we're looking at Scorpio being that deep psychological imprint, but it's also this interesting dynamic of being very intuitive. There's an intuitiveness in that Scorpio energy. It rules the occult in many ways. So I think that this is about aligning for my Tauruses a trust. Animals trust their instincts. And they trust strong leadership. And these animals seem to be following this woman. There will be plenty of bounty for you. And I think this is just so funny because we're on Taurus and the bulls are here. So somewhere Spirit is trying to inspire you to feel some ease, to trust your connection to the stars, that what you're looking for is coming into play. There's a rebirth being had. And then here is the wealth card. And Teresa saying not to worry. So I think that oftentimes what I find with my earth signs is that they're like little squirrels. They have a lot of nuts that they're saving, but they're always wanting to save more for a rainy day. There can never be enough. I think this is about Taurus starting to think about flow. Flow is coming in. And if you are worried, you're restricting your own peace of mind because you're not thinking about the flow of whatever the momentum is that you've already created. Okay. The other dynamic could be is that the political atmosphere has you worried as well, because, that's in play right now. The world is watching all sorts of things going on, and we get concerned about that kind of stuff. Okay, Gemini, here we go. Ooh, I love this card. Gemini, this is wish fulfillment. This is what you want is going to happen. And she's a mermaid. Has all her little shells. She's very relaxed. It's almost as if she's like, I know she's not, but it's almost as if she's sitting, laying on a barca lounger or on a chair of some kind with her arms up like that. It just feels like there's a vulnerability, when your body, I don't know if you guys have ever done yoga, but there's this pose, I think it's called camel pose. I'm not sure, but you go backwards, and it's almost like they tell you to picture a hook pulling your chest up. So you're exposing all your organs. It's very vulnerable position. So this for me is Gemini B, focus on your wish fulfillment. Gemini can go, let's see where we're going. I have faith my wish will be fulfilled. The universe is working to bring everything that I need to fulfill that wish. Hope is outside of yourself, and it's actually a little bit of a draggy foot. Slows stuff down. Gemini, your first angel is Bridget. The second is Bethany. The third is Shanti. And the final is Chantal. Yes. My new favorite thing is the other thing, rather than let it go, let it grow, is impossible. If you look at that word, it's I'm possible. What will you choose? All right, Gemini. Okay, Bridget is being joined by the focus card. Bethany is being joined by the butterfly. Shanti's being joined by the stag. And Chantal's being joined by the high priestess. When I look at this, the Nine of Cups is all about your body, your emotional body, the water, the flowiness, there's abundance here. In this deck, the shells are all over the place. They're not just laying on the sand. They're not just, so to me, there's a sense of flow and ease here. Now, this is Spirit saying, what are you focusing in on, Gemini? What are you focusing in on? Now, we know that your ruling planet is in Sagittarius right now, but you're also experiencing that Jupiter in your first house. Jupiter's retrograde. Jupiter's revisiting something and being tasked to look at things in a balanced way between what the vision is and allowing Spirit to inspire Jupiter, the action. Because here, there's a blossoming of how you take care of yourself. And I think I'm going to see at the end here, this is directly related to that connection to Spirit, because it's time to start to default to what you want and to find peace within it. So this is where I'm going. This is my example. When I said to Spirit 10 and a half years ago that, okay, I'm quitting my job and I want, if I'm meant to do this, then you bring me the resources, the people, the dynamics, so I pay my bills and I can get my mochas in the morning. At the time I was still doing Starbucks, because I feel like this is for Gemini. This could be the challenge. It's about focusing in on your wish being fulfilled, not you fulfilling your wish. Looking at your focus, what am I focusing in on? Am I allowing for the transformation of myself where I don't have to tell the same old story? Am I standing in leadership for my peace, or am I being stubborn about the old story? Because Chantal is the angel of romance, and then we have the high priestess. Now, not everybody wants to be in a romance, so this would refer to something that you love and a new sense of feeling love and fluffiness in your life. If indeed you are of the age where you want to hook up or get to know somebody, there's a possibility. But part of it is going into this intuitive energy. Again, going back to this watery energy of trusting the universe and starting to focus in on and having an awareness of what conversation Gemini says to themselves that actually trips things up. The old story, oh, this always happens, I've always got to do this, or what story opens it up? Trips it up, opens it up. All right. Onward and upward to our Cancers. I would think Cancers had a little bit of a tough time with Mars in your first house. And this Pluto nonsense might be having you feeling a little melancholy. Your tarot card is the Seven of Wands. Now, this is interesting in this deck because the symbolism here is very different than in the original Rider-Waite deck. The Seven of Wands in the original Rider-Waite deck has more of a challenge to it for me. It's like there's an unseen force that's scaring me of some kind. You know, we see the guy on the hill and the wands are coming up. But here, this character is creating a bridge, taking those wands and manipulating them in a way that provides balance of some kind as we're going from one place to another. So I think for my Cancers, this is about bridging some kind of emotional river. Let's look. I can't even tell you how much Oregon is in my face. Last night I did a party, okay? And someone's birthday party, so I worked it. And as I'm walking up through the door, there's a huge Oregon state flag right there. I'm haunted by this. I just keep feeling like I have to get my blinders on like this pretty soon. Pretty soon I'm only going to be looking like this through my eyeballs. You know what I mean, small, right? Yeah, it's beautiful. All right, let's go. I'm gonna make it Washington, okay? I'm going to Washington. I'm skipping a state right now. I need a break from Oregon. No offense, love y'all. Okay, first card for our Cancers is Archangel Uriel. Then we have Isaiah. Then we have Bridget, and finally Desiree. I haven't been to Washington either, but I used to watch what's his name, who made the tree houses, Nelson. And I wanted to go live in a tree house for a while. Okay, that's my Taurus moon. Archangel Uriel is being joined by the Raven. Okay, so Cancer, Spirit is definitely talking about it's time to start to, release frustration and anger, to go across the emotional bridge somehow. Isaiah is being joined by the Wind Fairy. It's time to think new things, thoughts. The King is being joined by Bridget's joining the King, and Desiree is joining the dog. The dog is joining Desiree. I'm talking backwards today, like I'm freaking the Hanged Man. I look and then I say things backwards. This is an emotional week for Cancer. When I look at this, we know, Saturn is trining Cancer energy. And yet at the same time, Saturn could not be easy. So if there's early born or mid, planets in that area, you could be feeling that. And because here to me, what I'm looking at is something about my Cancers recognizing that the bones have been picked dry. Whatever the situation is, it is what it is. Now it's time for new thoughts, new beginnings, and this may not be easy for you. It may be a little bit because there's emotions involved here. Somewhere I'm bridging emotions. And in the original Rider-Waite deck, this is a card of potentially defending myself. So now this character is trying to create some bridge, and that might be a bridge for yourself because Bridget is looking deeper into where the justice is. And the justice comes from being able to recognize how much time I spend in my thought process, in what I'm thinking, in how I'm focusing in on it. Am I lovable? Am I not lovable? Am I smart? Am I not smart? Am I handsome? Am I pretty? Am I too? La, 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 la. The 29 reduces down to an 11. We know that Pluto's been sitting at 29 degrees of Capricorn, opposing you in the seventh house, about to enter your house of transformation, a double whammy with Pluto moving into the eighth house. It's a natural home, but at the same time, we're going to have that Aquarian energy because Desiree and the dog are here. The dog is a 10, reduces down to a 1, and then this is about love. I kind of feel like for my Cancers right now, if you've been frustrated in your emotional body, in how your interactions, because this dog does not necessarily mean intimate love to me. This could be how you're processing your relationships, and if you're feeling valued in your relationships and you're feeling cherished, the person who says, oh, I'll call you later, and then they never call you. Or the person that says, oh, we'll get together, and then they're half an hour late. And there's this, because there's something weird feeling about something subtle going on underneath the surface, and it might be triggering you. And this bridge might be you getting across the emotional divide to taking care of yourself versus always trying to be the nice one, the easy one, the loving one. Some of the key words that we get with the sun signs, like Libra's always about partnership, Cancer's always about family. These little subtleties, they anchor us into a smaller version, because this really feels something different. This almost feels like it's not time to be loyal to someone else. It's time to be loyal to yourself. All right. On to our Leos, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. You know what else I do when I'm upset? I don't eat. And I think that's why my brain is a little bit tired the last couple of weeks, why I keep catching myself doing things backwards, because my whole world got turned upside down for 2 weeks. Well, I should say for the last few months, but the last 2 weeks intensely. And I think it's important to note these things, because when you're at my age, you might start thinking you're in decline. I don't believe it. All right. Are you ready, Leo? Here we go. The 5 of Wands. This is a card of competition. This is a card where there's squabbles and arguments, and people are not necessarily agreeing. They are not fighting. It's very much, to me, it's more bickering or competitive, or let's see where we're going with this. Lighthouse 51, you're 70. I can't wait to be 73. Well, I can wait, but I can't wait I want to age gracefully. I want to exercise my wisdom. I don't want to just grow old. And I often think people just grow old. Hi, Flamingo. Oh, I put it on conservative, and it used to let me skip them, but it doesn't do that anymore. So I apologize for the commercials. I try to put on as little as possible. And I hope they're skippable so you can. Okay, here we go. Bridget is our first angel. We are on Leo, and we are looking at something about competition, something about potential squabbling. Then we have Azure, your desired outcome will happen in the near future. We have victory in the form of Omega, and then we have patience, which is about observing your own behavior. Well, I used to be able to see the commercials coming up. It would show me the commercials coming, and then I could skip it for you. But I haven't seen those in a while. I forgot they were even there, honestly. Okay, Leo. Let's see where we're going. Bridget is being joined by the Risk card. Azure is being joined by the Earth Fairy. Omega is being joined by the Eagle. And the Lady of the Lake. Oh, this competition card is funny because it's not about competition that's actually happening. It's about perceived competition or perceived. If you look closely, there's a weird feeling. There's only one guy moving here. The others all look like they're playing hide and seek or something, So I could almost say that this guy, the first guy, is like throwing his light around that first wand, and the others are observing it. Now we're talking about Leo. I'm wondering if there's something about throwing your light up an inspiration, not worrying about competition, not worrying about what other people are doing. Because now Bridget is asking you to look deeper into risking something. And whenever we see wands, you're demonstrating your fire of some kind, your fire, your passion. Now we see azure saying your desired outcome will happen in the near future. Have patience and faith. And then there's the earth fairy, which means that it's coming into the earth plane. Leo, something is going to come into the earth plane that you are looking, either the piece of the puzzle. It does feel as if it's not just about a win for you, because while I see competition with the 5, these characters are not necessarily competing in this moment. So there may be elements of something that you need to come together, the pieces coming together. Victory is here. The angels are bringing you the pieces that you need in the form of the eagle. Okay. And this is a victory for sure. And now there's patience is required, as you on some level have to exercise this inner knowing between your fear of, sometimes when we get a good idea or we get inspired by something, we suddenly think that we have to rush into it, or there could be other people that try to, maybe someone else will have the idea. What I want you to recognize is that your magic is your magic. And if 10 other people come up with a similar idea, they're not going to execute it in the same way. So allowing yourself to throw your light out there, get in the game. Don't worry about the competition. The risk could be really worth the reward. Yep. All right. Let's go into our Virgos. Rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Okay, so for our Virgos, we have the 4 of Cups. Now, this is an interesting energy. There's a little bit of melancholy looking here. The thing that hits me is the swing. I feel like every piece of the artwork has some sort of symbolism. And when I look at the swing, there's a lack of flow, or a lack of flexibility, a lack of going back and forth. We see this hand offering Virgo a shell. But when I see the shell, I see a conch shell, like there's a message from God. You know how when you put a shell up to your ear, you can hear the ocean? But this person is focused elsewhere, so they're missing something. Let's look and see. This could also be the Saturn opposition to Virgo, creating some sort of feeling of dryness, or that things are going in a direction and you can't really see. Oh, I didn't notice, but now I see also that this character has been reading. I wonder what the reading is. All right, Virgo, our first angel is Celeste. It's all about work or shifting the way you're thinking. Archangel Raphael is a healing process, healing epiphany. Vanessa is faith over fear. And Bridget's about looking deeper into a situation. Oh, he emerges. I don't know if you can see Lucky. He just emerged from his nap. I don't think you can see the floor. I think that swing is about being flexible somehow. I think it's about enjoying things a little bit more. Okay, Celeste and the Raven are together. Something is happening. There's a timing issue. I want to say for my Virgos that I definitely think that God has a gift for you, but part of that gift has to do with something to do with that opposition to Saturn. It may be slower. It may take a little time. It may initially feel like it's repressing you, but then it could do something different. Let's see. Archangel Raphael is offering an epiphany. That's how I think of it. First in my mind, I have a thought and then I execute it. And this is very much about how you exercise your power and your control. And I want to say it this way. Virgo can be very logical. You can see down the road. We saw that earlier with the Knight of Pentacles. You could be like, well, if we do this, this, and this, that's going to happen over there. There could be something about how you approach that situation, being more aware of how you implement your knowledge, how, having a more of a gingerly, easier way, the swing of saying your information or dispensing your information. Vanessa's being joined by Merlin, and Bridget's being joined by the Truth. For my Virgos, I think that you're going through a process where potentially Saturn is creating that outside influence that's tasking you to be more aware of what thought processes enslave you, where you're not allowing your intuitive energy to come through in the same way that you allow the logic of your mind to come through. Because here is a time to alchemize your faith, to use your faith that whatever's going on. The Raven is a 10, which reduces down to a 1. We see the 1 indicated here on Merlin. There's something about that thought process. And then Bridget and the Truth card are coming in. I think if there's been a change, whatever caused the melancholy, whatever caused you to think that something is not working out, something's drying up, something is repressing you, it could inadvertently actually, over this period of Saturn's transit, bring something more sustainable to you in your 7th house of partnerships, professional partnerships, partnerships with your peace of mind, knowing the flow. But I somehow think there's a potential of moving a job, or a job change brings on a shift. And I say that very much because Celeste represents jobs, and we're looking at your 7th house right now. Saturn transiting your 7th house of professional partnerships. Okay, onward and upward to our Libras, our final sign of the day. I love you all for being so supportive. I'm happy to tell your boss that. Give me his email address. I will send him a little note. From Sister Teresa, my God-given name. All right. Libra, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. The 2 of Pentacles. You know, this is a flow card. You're so funny. This is a flow card. Now, in the traditional Rider-Waite deck, we see the guy having to be very flexible. It's kind of perplexing. He's got this red, kind of looks like a dunce cap on him. He's got 1 foot up and 1 foot down. When I look at this one, she's traveling down the boardwalk. Her hands aren't on the steering wheel. She feels the flow. And if we're looking at Libra potential energy, she feels balance. So let's see. Where we go. I would like to feel a little balance, a little more balance than I felt recently. I'll only need another 2 months sleep. It does feel quite positive. In fact, I want to offer this because I see this surfer guy in the back coming to shore. And I kind of feel as he's watching her go by that there's something beyond this. And I think they'll show me, because it almost feels as if he's been observing her journey and now she has her flow. Let's see. It's also a money card, by the way. Chantal, the angel of romance. Isaiah, new beginnings. Rosetta is about children, and Yvonne is about vulnerability. Well, when I talk about romance, when I talk about Libra sun, I'm a Libra sun, I kind of think, I don't. Someone said to me the other day, can't you read for yourself? Can't you do a card spread for yourself and know what the answer will be? The answer is no. Really, Lucy, I'm sorry. Well, I shouldn't say I'm sorry. I'm glad I'm making you laugh. Okay, Chantal's being joined by the focus card. Okay. Isaiah's being joined by the restriction card. Rosetta is being joined by the swan. And Yvonne is being joined by the Grail Knight. Okay, I'm going to tell you right now, I find it just a little hard for me as a Libra sun to buy this spread for me, because the object of my affection has been a total douchey douche, and I can't even begin to tell you. And he's going to die anyway in a few months. So, according to the doctors, it's 9 to 18 months, but according to the transits, it might be sooner. We'll see. Okay, what do you want in love, Libra? South Node is in your 1st house. What do you want in love? Because the South Node is asking you. This is what I want to say. The South Node is asking you to be egoless about your own needs. Libra is traditionally, very cooperative, sometimes to the point where you just don't want confrontation, so you acquiesce. I don't need that much. I don't want to fight with you. And a stronger energy will push through. I think that this focus card is an exchange, a balance of some kind. And I feel like part of that balance is really identifying inside of your head where, when I see the restriction card and I see a new beginning, it makes me feel as if Isaiah is the restriction refers to the gestation. This character is pregnant. She's gestating something. So something's not happening quickly. Something needs to be, you need to flow, go have fun, go do something that brings you some relaxation. Rosetta is about children. The swan is about transformation. When I look at that, I don't necessarily think, if I was doing a personal reading, it would be different. But when we're talking about a lot of people, I think you're a child of God, Libra. And you're going through a transformation where you're learning how to balance your individual needs with the needs of those around you that you want to be cooperative to, that you want to be in balance with. And now this is requiring a sense of vulnerability. Yvonne is always my angel of vulnerability, where if I'm like, because oftentimes the signs that are like more partnership signs or signs that are mutable, where they interact, they lock, they think if I don't do you, you're going to leave me. Or if I'm not making you happy, I will suffer, I will be rejected. I think that this is really important for Libra to bow down to what is most important and sacred to you in how you feel loved. Not everybody needs a ring on their finger. Not everybody needs to cohabitate in their loving relationships. But I think most everybody wants to feel a sense of respect, a sense of honesty, so that you can make choices. And if somebody is in your life that's taking your choices away from you, then you have that choice to listen to your inner voice that may, in some ways, be a little scary to be vulnerable to that inner voice. I also want to say this for my Libras. Those of you that have late degree rising Libra, have late degree planets, you have the square to Pluto happening. It's still there. So be gentle with yourself. I really think maybe it's about getting out and just, I don't know. I don't want to take a bike ride, but I almost feel like it's like cruising down the boardwalk and just removing my attention and trying to recalibrate. And I say that because sometimes the voices in our head aren't just our own voices. They're the voices of the people that have expectations of us or have, obligations with us, or they're connected to us. And so they become part of the equation when we are contemplating something. Okay. I got to say, when I bought my grounding sheet, Lighthouse 51, I don't know if you've been in the room before. I think you're new here. I turned 65 last 2 weeks ago, or maybe, I don't know, almost a month ago now. And I bought this grounding sheet off of Amazon, and it's the greatest thing for my body that I've ever felt. I mean, literally, I don't feel my age at all. I mean, I do sometimes when I look in the mirror, mostly my vanity feels it, but my body feels pretty good. And we're just going to stay that. And then we're telling Spirit that when my time comes to transition, it's just a quick hop, skip, and a jump. I don't need any long situations. All right, guys, I want to thank you so much for being patient. I want to thank everybody who sent me love and prayers last week when I left that cryptic voice message for y'all on the video. Again, I want to emphasize that this Mars-Pluto opposition is trumping everything in the sky right now. And as Mars starts to slow down, it's going to station, and it's going to station hot in Leo. Then it's going to retrograde back into Cancer, and it's going to feel very disempowered again. So as you look to where this transit's happening in your natal chart, for me, it's in the 4th and the 10th house. And Mars is in my 4th house. And while I think of that as home and hearth and family, it's also self-nurturing and intuition. So as I pay attention to my self-care, and I, sort of look at Pluto's public assault of me, because Pluto is publicly assaulting me on that platform. There are people who can see the diss that's happening, and it's not a fair diss. but I'm not going to go challenge that Pluto energy because it won't work for me. I'm going to stay down in my Mars energy and be brave enough to step away from something and then feel the power of my self-care in this situation. Hello, Pauline K. I don't see why you cannot download it. I think you just need to go to the share button on the once the live has loaded back up, you should be able to go to the share button and then download it. I think, or share it to yourself, send it to yourself. Okay, you guys, that's it for me for today. Again, thank you so much for watching me go through my life's ups and downs and being here for me on Sunday mornings, anchoring me into my purpose and making me feel loved. We're gonna we've done the love money and tarot. Love and tarot is a new one we're doing, so check those November ones out. You'll be seeing them for December, and I'll start to I'll do something so you can start to see what's happening on the Instagram that we've started. All right, everybody, like, subscribe, share, and all that good stuff. I'll see you next Sunday at 11 a.m. Peace out, everybody.